Alright, we're working on the What is Cold and Comes in Cans worksheet. So we have rectangular prisms on top, we have square pyramids in the middle, and we have triangular prisms on the bottom. I'm going to start this from the back and work my way to the front just because I feel like these are harder, these are medium, and these are the easiest ones we have. So we're going to start with number 9 on here. So I got my paper handy because there's no way we can fit our work on here, so don't even try. Get the paper. So when I'm doing triangular prisms, what I do first is the triangles because I feel like that just, get them out of the way. That's easy stuff. So if we look at number 9, our triangle right at the front, we see that our base is 4 and our height is 3.5. So let's go ahead and solve that triangle. So my triangle, which I know in a triangular prism I have 2. The area of a triangular prism is half times base times height. The base of that triangle is 4. The height is 3.5. I know that half of 4 is 2, so now I just have to do 2 times 3.5. 2 times 3.5 is 7. So the area of my triangle is 7 inches squared. But like I said, we have 2 triangles, so I'm going to go ahead and double this right now. 7 plus 7 is 14. So 14 inches squared for my 2 triangles. Now is when I'm going to pull out colors, which I think you should do too because it's easier that way. Alright, so the first color I'm going to use is this yellow, and I'm going to get the back of this triangular prism. So if I look here, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line on my 4 inches on top. I'm going to go down the dotted line, across this dotted line, and then up this side. So there's my first rectangle. Now, it doesn't give me any of my lengths for these, but I know that if this solid line right here is 5.5, that means the opposite of that dotted line also has to be 5.5. Then all I need are my sides. Well, if this is 4 inches and this is 4 inches, I think it's safe to say that this is also 4 inches. So I know this right here, because it's also pointed to by this arrow, is 4 inches. I find the area of a rectangle by doing length times width. My length, we already said, is 5.5. and my width is 4. So now I just have to do 5.5 times 4. I get 22 inches squared. So there's our yellow rectangle. I'm going to grab my orange now to get my orange rectangle. I'm going to get the bottom. So I'm going to go across 4 inches over my 5.5, the dotted line, and then the dotted line that I shared with the yellow. So there's my bottom. Again, I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. I see my length is 5.5 and my width is 4. So 5.5 times 4, which we did already at the yellow, so I know that that is 22 inches squared. Now I just have one more rectangle to find, and for this one I'm going to use blue. I'm going to draw a line right here, grab that 5.5 again, go up this way and across the top. So there's my final one. The area of a rectangle is length times width. I see that my length is 5.5 and my width is 4. And this one just happened to work out that way where every single one is the same. But when we get to number 8 and 7, that's not going to be the case. 5.5 times 4 is 22 inches squared. My final step then is to add all of my areas together to get my total surface area. So I'm going to be doing 14 plus 22 plus 22 plus 22. 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 8. So my total surface area is 80 inches squared. I can then go to this bottom part down here and cross that off. So that's for number 9. Make sure you show all of this work for number 9. Pause the video if you need to get the rest of this work. Press play when you're ready to go on to number 8. Alright, for number 8, I'm going to go ahead and take care of my triangle first, just like I did before. And again, I know in a triangular prism I have 2 triangles. I'm going to look at this bottom one right here because this is where I can see my little right angle square, so I know those are my lengths for my triangle. I find the area of a triangle by doing half times base times height. The base of this triangle is 2.6 and the height is 3.9. So 1/2 times 2.6 times 3.9. I get 5.07 centimeters squared. But again, there are 2 triangles, so I'm going to double this so I don't have to do that step later. 7 plus 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. Bring down my decimal. 5 plus 5 is 10. So my triangles are 10.14 centimeters squared. Now I'm going to get ready for my 3 different rectangles, because unlike number 9, these will all be different. I already know to find a rectangle, I just do length times width. So I'm grabbing my yellow, and I'm going to do the side here first. So I'm going to get this 2.6. I'm going to go up the middle and get this one right here. So looking here, I can see that one of my lengths is 2.6. This one does not say the height, but this one has to be the opposite of this one, so which means my middle has to be 4.3. So I'm going to do 2.6 times 4.3. I get 11.18 centimeters squared. Now I'm going to get ready for my orange, which again, I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. Grab the orange, and we're going to get the back. So I'm going to go across the dotted line, up the 4.3, across the 5.2, and down to share that yellow side. So then here, I see that my length is 5.2 and my height is 4.3. Grab a calculator. I get 22.36 centimeters squared. Lastly, I'm going to have my blue, and again, area equals length times width. So here's my blue. I'm going to go up this middle one that I shared with the yellow, across the 3.9, up the 4.3, and then cross over the middle. So there's my blue one. So I can see here that my length is 3.9 and my height is 4.3. So 3.9 times 4.3. I get 16.9 16.77 centimeters squared. My last and final step is to add all of these together. So I have my triangles, 10.14, plus my yellow, 11.18, plus my orange, 22.36, plus my blue, 16.77, and I'm going to add together. 4 plus 8 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. 18 plus 7 is 25. Carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. Decimal. Carry my 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And 4 plus 6 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. So I get 60 and 45 hundredths centimeters squared. So I'm going to find that on here. Cross that off. Now pause the video if you need to finish copying this work down. Press play when you're ready to continue. Okay. Now I'm going to go on to number 7. Again, we're going to find our triangles first. And there's 2 of them. Alright, so looking here at my triangle down here, because I always look for my little right angle box, I see that my base is 12 and my height is 5. So I'm going to plug that into my formula. The area of a triangle is half times base times height. Half times 12 times 5. Well, half of 12 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30 meters squared. Again, I'm going to double my triangles because there's going to be 2 of them in here. 30 plus 30 is 60 meters squared. Time to move on to those rectangles. So yellow first. We already know area is length times width for a rectangle. I'm going to get a side over here, so I'm going to color the 7, get the dotted line, get that dotted line, and then connect it with the solid line. So I already know the 7 is going to go with this no matter what, but here and the dotted line doesn't have a value. But I know this dotted line has to share with this solid line over here, which is 10, which means I'm going to be doing 7 times 10. Well, this is a no-brainer. 7 times 10 is 70 meters squared. Let's move on to orange. So I'm going to share that dotted line that I had before for the yellow, get the other dotted line, go up and connect it at top. So there we are. I see that my length is 10 and my width is 9. So area equals 9 times 10. 9 times 10 is 90 meters squared. Time for the blue. Here we go. Let's get these 2 lines right here that haven't had any coloring on them yet and connect the sides. I see here that my length is 12 and my width is 10. This little 5 is only ever used for the triangle, and that's it. So we have 12 and 10. So area equals 12 times 10. 12 times 10 is 120 meters squared. Now I add them all up. So 60 plus 70 plus 90 plus 120. All my zeros give me 0. 9 and 2 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus 6 is 23. Carry the 2. 2 plus 3 is 3. I think I may have added that wrong. I did add that wrong. What did I do wrong? Huh, 9 plus 2 is 11, not 10, Miss Norris, so this should be a 4. 340 meters squared. Caught you, didn't I? So 340 over here, cross it out. Pause if you need to see the rest of this work. Alright, I'm starting on number 6 now with this triangular, or not triangular, square pyramid because our base is a square. So I only need 2 colors for these because I need my square and I need my triangle. Since a square has 4 sides, I know there are going to be 4 total triangles. So I'm going to need to find the square, and I'm going to need to find 4 triangles. So I'm going to start with the yellow, and I'm going to get my square, which is easy to find because it's right on the bottom. It's got the 2 dotted lines and 1 solid. I find the area of a square by doing length times width. My length is 6.4, my width is 6.4. So 6.4 times 6.4. I get 40.96 centimeters squared. Now I can move on to my triangle. I'm going to color that in blue. So I'm going to get the base of the triangle, and then its 2 sides. I know to find the area of a triangle, I have to do half times base times height. My base is shared with the square, and it's 6.4. My height is right in the middle of the triangle, this arrow pointing to it, 8.2. So I'm going to do half times 6.4 times 8.2. I get 26.24 centimeters squared. But like I said, I see that I have 4 triangles, which means I can do this one of 2 ways. I can either multiply it by 4, or I can just add this thing 4 times. I think it's easier to multiply by 4. So let's do that. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 times 6 is 24, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 plus 2 is 10. I see that I have 2 numbers behind the decimal, so I'm going to move my decimal over 2 places. Now I just add these together to get my total surface area of this pyramid. 40.96 plus 104.96. 6 plus 6 is 12, carry the 1. 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 1 more is 19, carry the 1, bring down the decimal. 4 plus 0 plus 1 is 5. 4 plus 0 is 4, bring down my 1. So my total surface area is 145.92 centimeters squared. So I'm going to find that here and cross it out. Press pause if you need to get the rest of this work. If not, continue. Alright, we're on number 5 of our square pyramids. Blah. Alright, so just like number 6, we need to find the square. And we need to find a triangle, and we know once we find one triangle, we found all 4. So let's do the square first with our yellow. I see that my length is 30 and my width is 30, so I can go ahead and find the area of this square. 30 times 30, which is 900 millimeters squared. Now I need to find my triangle, which I know the area of a triangle is half of the base times the height. So let's take the blue. The base is part of the square, and let's get the sides of that triangle. I see my base is 30 and my height is 40, so I'm going to plug that in. Half times 30 times 40. I get 600 millimeters squared. Again though, I know I have 4 triangles total, so I'm going to multiply this by 4 to figure out all of my triangles. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 6 is 24 millimeters squared. Now to find the total surface area, I just add the two together. So 2,400 plus 900, 0 and 0 is 0, 0 and 0 is 0, 4 and 9 is 13, carry the 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. So the area of number 5's square pyramid is 3,300. Okay, so 3,300 for number 6. So I'm going to find that here, cross it out, press pause if you need to get the rest of this work. If not, we're going to keep on going. Alright, number 4. Again, with a square pyramid, we need to find the square, and we need to find the triangle, and we know there are 4 triangles total. So let's do our square first. We know the area of a square is length times width. Here's my yellow. There's my square. My length and width are 8 and 8. 8 times 8 is 64 inches squared. Done with the square. Now it's time for the triangle. I know I find the area of a triangle by doing half times base times height. And grab my blue. I'm going to get the base of the triangle that's shared with the square and my 2 sides. I see my base is 8 and my height is 10. So I'm going to plug those values in. Half times 8 times 10. I know half of 8 is 4. 4 times 10 is 40 inches squared. But I have 4 triangles, so I'm going to multiply this by 4 to get all my triangles. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 16 inches squared. To get the total surface area, I add these together. 0 plus 4 is 4. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I get 224 inches squared for number 4's square pyramid. I'm going to find that here and cross it off. Now all we have left is our 3 rectangular prisms. Alright, number 3. I'm going to use my 3 colors again because there's always a top and bottom of a rectangular prism. There's always a right and left, and there's always a front and back. So let's get the top and bottom first with the yellow. I'm going to find the bottom because the bottom is where all of my numbers are. So finding the top, we would have a lot of work to do with finding those numbers. So there's my bottom. I see that my length and width are 1.4 and 2.5. So I'm going to plug that in. Area equals length times width. Area equals 1.4 times 2.5. I get 3.5 meters squared for the top. I'm also going to go ahead and double this because I know there's a top and a bottom that are the same. 5 plus 5 is 0, bring down the decimal. 5 plus 5 is 10, so 0, carry the 1, bring down the decimal. 3 plus 3 is 9, plus 1 more is 10. So we get 10 meters squared for the top and bottom. Now we're going to find the right and left, which again, I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. So here's my orange. I'm going to go ahead and get the right side. There it is. I see my length is shared with the yellow here of 2.5 and my height is 2.0. So area equals 2.5 times 2.0. I get 5 meters squared. Again, if there's a right, there's a left, so I'm going to double this. 5 plus 5 is 10. So we get that the right and left together are 10 meters squared. Lastly, I need to get the front and back. I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. I'm going to grab my blue, and I'm going to go ahead and start on this side right here. There's our front. I see that the length is 1.4, and then here's the widths. They have no numbers, but I see that the width here, my blue line, is shared with my orange. So if this is this, that has to be that too, so that means it's 2.0. So 1.4 times 2.0. Another way to remember this is that your 4 numbers in your rectangular prism, or your 3 numbers in your rectangular prism, you'll have to pair them up every single way you can in order to solve. So if this is confusing to you, just make sure you made every single combination of the 3 you can. 2.0 times 1.4 is 2.8 meters squared. If there's a front, there's a back, so I need to double this. 8 plus 8 is 16, decimal, carry the 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. So 5.6 meters squared. Only thing left to do now is add these all together. But since we have decimals, make sure we line these decimals up right. So we have 10.0, if you really want to put the 0.0. We have 10, and we have 5.6. So if I were you, I'd go ahead and give a decimal to that one too, and just that way it's all nice and even Steven, and we can add them up. 0, 0, and 6 is 6. Bring down the decimal. 0, 0, and 5 is 5. 1 and 1 is 2. So we get 25.6 meters squared for number 3's rectangular prism. So I'm going to find that here. I'm wondering if anybody noticed my mistake, because I just realized I'm wrong when I couldn't find 25.6 here. That would be up here on my top and bottom. When I did 3 plus 3, in my head, I did 3 times 3 and gave me 9, added 1 and got me 10. But what is 3 plus 3? 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So this should be 7.0 meters squared, which means that this 10.0 should be 7.0, which means our final answer should be 7 plus 5 is 12, carry the 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, so 22.6 meters squared. I wonder if you caught my mistake. and that is over there. Press pause to copy down my work if you need to. If not, I'm going to keep on going. Alright, home stretch. We're on the last two. Alright, let's take a look at number 2's rectangular prism. Alright, so we know we're going to have the top and bottom, the right and left, and the front and back. So let's do the top and bottom first with yellow. I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom, because that's the one that has the actual values. If you go to the top, there's no values. I see that my length is 7 and my width is 7. So to find the area of a rectangle, I do length times width. 7 times 7 is 49 inches squared. Now, since I have a top and a bottom, I know I need to double this. 9 plus 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 1 more is 9. So my top and bottom is 98 inches squared. Now I need to move on to my right and left. Again, I know the area of a rectangle is length times width. Here's my orange. I'm going to go ahead and get the right side. I see my values are 7 and 11, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in 7 times 11. 7 times 11 is 77 inches squared. If I have a right, I have a left, so I'm going to double this. 7 plus 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 1 more is 15. So 154 inches squared for the right and left. Lastly, I need to get my front and back. So area equals length times width. Here's my blue. And there's my front panel. I can see right away that I have 7, and then I share this right here with the orange. So this orange is equal to that orange, which means my width is 11. So area equals 7 times 11. 7 times 11 is 77 inches squared. Just like the right and left, if I have a front, I have a back. So let's double that. And we already did that over here, so we know it's 154 inches squared. Now to get the total surface area, I just have to add these three together. Four plus 4 is 8, plus 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 5 is 15, plus 5 more is 20. Carry the 2. 2 plus 1 is 4. So we get 406 inches squared. So I look here, cross it out. If you need to copy this down, go ahead and pause the video. If not, I'm going on to the final one. So number 1 is the last one we have, which everybody probably already has done from class. So if I have a top, I have a bottom. If I have right, I have left. And if I have front, I have the back. So start with the top and bottom. Get the bottom right here. We see my values for the bottom are 6 and 4. To find the rectangle, it's length times width. So area equals 6 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24 centimeters squared. Again, if I have a top, I have a bottom, so we're going to double that. 4 plus 4 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. We get 48 centimeters squared. Let's move on to the right and left. Again, the area of a rectangle is length times width. Here's my orange. My right panel is right there. I see that my length is 4 and my width is 5. So area equals 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20 centimeters squared. If I have a right, I have a left, so we're going to double it up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we get 40 centimeters squared. Lastly, front and back, area equals length times width for a rectangle. Here's my blue, and there's my front panel. I see my length is 6, and my width is shared with the orange, so this orange is the same as this orange, which means my width is 5. So 6 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30 centimeters squared. If there's a front, there's a back. Let's double it. 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 3 is 9. We get 90 centimeters squared. So to find the total surface area, I have to add these all together. 48 plus 40 plus 90. Look what I did again. I really like multiplying these 3's instead of adding them, don't I? 3 plus 3 is 6. So now we have to add the 3 together. 48 plus 40 plus 60. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. Plus 4 more is 14. So we get 148 centimeters squared. You can find that one right here. Pause the video if you need the work. If not, I'm going to go ahead and solve the riddle. So, I have crossed out every single answer that I have come across, because if you read the directions carefully, it says when you finish, write the letters from the remaining boxes. So we're writing the ones that are left, not the ones that are crossed. So I see CH, IL, IB, EA, and S. What is cold and comes in cans? Chili beans.